Hi, welcome to Analytics for All. This is Lesson 6 in our Python for Data Science course. This will get you to know everything you need from being a complete beginner in Python to building your first machine learning model. In this lesson, we're going to dive deeper into lists. We're going to learn about working with lists. Now, as with all my lessons, I have a full write-up on the lesson on my website, analyticsforall.org. I'll be placing a link to this down in the description. Uh, and one other thing to add is while I'm using the Jupyter Notebook from an Anaconda distribution, which you can go to Lesson 1 to install if you don't have it, if you're working on your phone or a mobile and you can't install working on a work computer, I did install this. I added this little feature here. If you look through the lessons for the blue arrows, that'll jump you over to a Python testing shell that you can work on online. You don't have to have it installed. But I still recommend, if you can, installing the full Anaconda distribution because when later on lessons, when we start to upload files and we start to, adding modules, this will work. I'm not sure what the limitations of that online system I set up are. All right. So anyway, here we are working with lists. Now we got over list and dictionaries in our last lesson. If you didn't take that one, if you skipped ahead, a list is a way of storing multiple values to one variable. So if you can see here, I've got X, and you can call out a list by using these square brackets. This tells you we're working with a list. So I've got square brackets, dog, cat, duck, badger. They're just separated by comma. And if you look down here, you can see I've even got numbers. You don't need to have, uh, it's not just limited to one type of value. You can even have a list of a list in there if you wanted to really dive deep. But let's start with just looking at the indexing. Now keep in mind, Python indexes at 0, which means Python starts its count at 0. So you've got 4 values here, but the first value is 0. So if I run this here, dog, so it's going to come back with the first value. Now look at 3. 3 is not going to bring back duck. 3 is going to bring back 0, 1, 2, 3. It's going to bring back badger. And 4, well, that's going to be out of range because even though you've got 4 items, again, we start with 0. So always keep that in mind. So that's what you get. You get this error, list index out of range. That means you went more than there are. Okay. So another way you can do it, instead of calling them out, as you can see the X with the square, that calls out the values, is we're going to do slicing. All right. So I'm going to do a range. I want every value from 1 to 4. So if you're looking at this, what do you think is going to come back? Yep. 1, 2, 3. It's not inclusive of it. It stops. It does not go to the fourth one. Here is going to be everything before up to 3 with this just having no value in front of it. So the first 3. And then this one's going to be everything after 2. So 0, 1, 2. So it should be everything after that. Okay. Now, the next one, we're going to start to work on altering the list. Okay, so we learned how to pull the items from the list. Let's alter the list now. So let's just create a list. Same thing, start over again. Got cat. So part 1 is cat. Let's change 1 to changed. Okay? And then we'll print. And as I also printed the list out to show you, it didn't just change that one value, it changed it in the list. So now it says changed instead of cat. Okay? The next one we're going to do is append. Append adds a value to the end of the list. So I'm going to append donkey, and now you'll see the list. There's a donkey at the end of the list. Next, I've got another list. We're going to delete an item. And when we delete, it's del, and we notice we use the index. So delete 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. It should delete duck, and duck is gone. Okay. If you don't want to do by the index, if you want to go by the name, notice this. I can use remove. Remove x dot remove cat. When you see anything in Python that has dot, any kind of code, whether remove, filter, and you see this parentheses, that's called a method. We'll get into methods later, but just let you know that's, if you hear the phrase method, that's what a method is. It's a method this variable header is built into it. So we're going to look here at the list. We're going to remove cat, and we're going to print it. So cat's gone. The next one is pop. Pop, what that does is it gets rid of the last item on the list. So it doesn't care about index. It just pops the last item off the list. So there he goes. Badger's gone. And here we can insert, instead of just, as we went up here to append, where at the end, we have insert. And I get to pick an index. So I want to insert into index 3, bunny. There you go. So bunny now appears at 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay. And finally, we'll just look at this list length. So you want to know how long the list is. That's something you want to look at sometimes. And bam, 6. Right. Keep in mind, lists are probably something I use very frequently when programming in the real world. Some of the stuff we're learning in here is just kind of, getting you familiar. But this list I use a lot, so you want to pay attention to this. Again, thank you for watching. So again, thank you for watching the lesson here. My website, again, analyticsforall.org. I'll leave a link down in the description. If you like this, hit the subscribe button, leave me a message below. Let me know anything else you'd like to work on. Again, this is Analytics for All. Thank you very much.